New South Wales, what a scandal, I've got to say, Daniel. Rail, Tram and Bus Union carrying on 3 days of strikes from tomorrow to fight for, and get this, a 32% pay rise over 4 years. The New South Wales government has got no option but to shut down the system. 32% increase. Isn't this kind of greed exactly why privatising such services is often the best? Because a privately owned service could not possibly agree to that extortion, but unions know that their mates in the Labor government can always get the cash from taxpayers.
Well, exactly. I think this is a line in the sand moment for Chris Minns and his government. I think Chris Minns has been one of the more sensible premiers of our country. He's taken a lot of good decisions, I have to say, keeping a Raring coal-fired power station open, which is vital not just to his state but to the nation. Having the proper commemorations on Anzac Day, for example. He doesn't strike me as a particularly woke kind of leader. I don't think he's going to drive his state into the ground, as has happened in Victoria and Queensland. So, look, I think he's got a lot of promise, but this is kind of like the Reagan air traffic controller moment for Chris Minns. He has to stand up to this and he has to say that it's unacceptable. I want everyone to have high wages, Andrew, but 8% per year is double inflation. So it's uneconomic, it's unaffordable. It will drive inflation. If you've got people earning more than inflation, they'll spend it driving inflation elsewhere in the economy. So, look, this is a line in the sand moment. Will Chris Minns and his government stand up to the unions on this matter, or will they bend down? And in which case, that's going to set the scene for many other issues over the coming years in that state.
But here's the problem, Garth. When a government owns an asset like that, they are blamed. They are blamed in a way they wouldn't quite if it was a private asset. And that's the problem. I mean, you make governments then, well, they can always reach to the taxpayer to cover these demands. Privatise and you don't.
Well, look, I do hold a view that there are some things that it's right for the government to own. And I think you need to work your way through that. I guess there's another issue here that I'd like to explore, though, Andrew, which is these things happen when you have unholy alliances with governments and unions. We've seen exactly the same thing play out in Queensland with the BPIC legislation that was going on in there, where we saw the Labor government dishing out ridiculous amounts of money, incredible paychecks to people within the CFMEU. You saw people holding stop-go signs on $200,000, absolutely rorting the system. The government in that case, and look, I've got to say, David Crisafulli's done a great job by overturning that straight away. The question is, will New South Wales have the same guts to stand up to these union demands of these incredible wage rises?
Well, in the meantime, though, Daniel, I've only got 10 seconds for it, but the publics are going to be without those trains for 3 days. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Well, that's right, but that is in and of itself going to build momentum for change, Andrew, because if, the day-to-day runnings of a state government means service delivery and getting the trains on time, so if that doesn't happen, public sentiment will change pretty quickly.
But that's the point, and that puts the pressure on the government to cough up, privatise. Daniel Wild, Garth Hamilton, thank you both.